The Preah Vihear dispute, a century of conflict between Thailand and Cambodia. Thailand and Cambodia, two nations once again thrust into the global spotlight by conflict. Guns are raised, shots ring out, and tensions boil along the border as the threat of war looms on the horizon. Yet this is not the first time violence has broken out over this territory. Blood has already been shed, and animosity has simmered beneath the surface for years. At the heart of this long-standing conflict lies a single name, Preah Vihear. How did a dispute over a single temple ignite tensions for more than a century? Take a closer look at Preah Vihear, a majestic temple whose origins trace back to the golden age of the Khmer Empire, when Khmer kings expanded their dominions and constructed monumental works of stone and devotion. In its earliest days, Preah Vihear was a modest shrine dedicated to Shiva, the Hindu deity revered throughout Khmer society. Over generations, the site grew, step by step, stone by stone. Locals expanded it with sacred stairways, ceremonial courtyards, and towering gateways, transforming it into a breathtaking complex that seems to touch the sky. During the reign of King Suryavarman II, Preah Vihear reached its grand completion, stretching over 800 meters in length. Its layout was designed to resemble a sacred mountain, the cosmic axis in Hindu mythology, making it far more than just an architectural marvel. Preah Vihear became a living symbol of ancient Khmer ingenuity, showcasing their mastery in engineering, artistry, and spiritual devotion. For centuries, the temple has been the site of major religious ceremonies and festivals, attracting pilgrims from all directions. In the Cambodian collective memory, Preah Vihear is not just a monument of faith, it is a national symbol, a sacred legacy passed down from ancestors, and a proud testament to Cambodia's cultural soul and enduring spirit. To the Thai people, the temple holds no less significance, as generations of their ancestors also considered this site sacred land, frequently visiting to perform religious rituals. This long-standing bond has contributed significantly to making the determination of ownership over Preah Vihear between the two nations complex and sensitive. People in both countries view this place as spiritually important. They believe that protecting and preserving the temple brings peace and blessings to their respective nations. Additionally, Preah Vihear also offers substantial economic benefits. The temple's beauty and fame attract visitors from all around the world, significantly improving the quality of life for local residents. Beyond its historical, cultural, and economic importance, Preah Vihear also holds military value. Built atop the Dângrêk mountain range, the temple provides an expansive view of the surrounding area, making it not only a sacred structure, but also a strategically significant military vantage point throughout history. These immense values have turned Preah Vihear into the focal point of a dispute lasting more than a century, one that remains unresolved to this day. So how did this conflict begin? To thoroughly understand the origins of the dispute surrounding Preah Vihear Temple, we must return to the 15th century. This was when the Khmer Empire began its period of decline, making it increasingly vulnerable to invasions by the Thai armies, known at that time as Siam. By the 1700s, the Siamese had taken control of large swaths of Cambodian territory, including the provinces of Sisophon, now known as Seray Salphon, and Battambang. Entering the 19th century, as the wave of colonialism swept across Asia, the Indo-Chinese peninsula inevitably became the target of European ambition. The French colonialists appeared, offering to protect the land of temples from the threat posed by their neighbor. King Norodom agreed, and a treaty was signed in 1863, officially turning Cambodia into a French protectorate. Once in control, the colonial authorities immediately set about reinforcing the borders, including the area around the temple of Preah Vihear. They established numerous guard posts there to deter Siamese incursions. The two sides subsequently engaged in several skirmishes, with Siam gradually losing ground. This forced them to accept a treaty redefining the boundary along the Dângrêk mountain range according to French interests. According to this agreement, the temple of Preah Vihear belonged to Cambodia. However, in practice, the precise surveying and mapping of the rugged mountain area at the beginning of the 20th century faced considerable difficulty, causing the exact border to remain unclear. When World War II broke out, Thailand took advantage of the weakened French position under Japanese pressure in Indochina, occupying several Cambodian territories managed by the French, including Preah Vihear. After Japan's defeat in World War II, Thailand was compelled to return these territories but refused to hand back the temple. In response, the French presented evidence, a map they had drawn in 1907 known as Annex I, that clearly showed Preah Vihear as part of Cambodian territory. However, Thailand also had its own map, showing that the 4.6 square kilometers surrounding the temple belonged to them. After the Cambodian people regained independence from France in 1953, the dispute between the two nations continued. By 1959, after unsuccessful negotiations, Cambodia decided to bring the issue of the Preah Vihear Temple to the International Court of Justice, ICJ, for arbitration. The case quickly captured global attention due to the temple's great cultural value and symbolic significance. In its lawsuit, Cambodia asserted its sovereignty on multiple legal and practical grounds. Firstly, according to the treaty signed in 1904, both Thailand and France had agreed that Preah Vihear Temple was located in Cambodian territory. Cambodian representatives argued further that the French-drawn map had been recognized and used for decades without any official objection from Bangkok. Moreover, the Thais themselves had reproduced this map in their own administrative documents and textbooks. Additionally, at the Franco-Siamese Conciliation Commission, held in 1947 in Washington, D.C., the Thai government presented a map of Indochina, which indicated that Preah Vihear Temple lay within Cambodian territory. Cambodia further emphasized that throughout the colonial period, French authorities had never allowed Thailand to exercise direct control over the temple, thereby reinforcing Cambodia's advantage in demonstrating continuous administrative authority. For its part, Bangkok argued that the 1904 treaty contained an error in defining the boundary between the two countries. They also firmly rejected the legitimacy of the Annex I map, claiming that the French colonialists deliberately drew it incorrectly, placing the Preah Vihear Temple within Cambodian territory, whereas its actual location was on a mountain slope belonging to Thailand. Moreover, the Siamese government at the time had never officially declared acceptance of this map. Thailand emphasized that remaining silent in the face of errors did not equate to relinquishing their sovereignty over the temple. The Thai government further pointed out that, in practice, it had carried out various sovereign activities at Preah Vihear for many years. Finally, after nearly 3 years examining documents, hearing arguments from both sides, and conducting thorough investigations, on June 15, 1962, the International Court of Justice delivered its verdict as follows. First, the court rejected Thailand's argument regarding the mistaken boundary line from the 1904 treaty. According to the court's viewpoint, Thailand had never expressed objections, concerns, or doubts about the French map from the time of its publication up until the court proceedings began. Although other maps clearly placing the Preah Vihear area within Thai territory had been published, Thailand continued to use Annex I. Furthermore, during negotiations with France in 1925 and 1937, Thailand had ample opportunity to raise objections regarding the mistake, but chose to remain silent. Based on these factors, the ICJ concluded that Bangkok had implicitly accepted that Preah Vihear belonged to Cambodia as indicated by the Annex I map, regardless of whether there were errors or not. Consequently, with 7 votes in favor and 5 against, the court ordered Thailand to withdraw its forces from Preah Vihear and its surrounding areas, and to return all artifacts belonging to the temple back to Cambodia. However, the ICJ's judgment still left a legal loophole, as it did not address which nation held sovereignty over the 4.6 square kilometer area surrounding the temple. Moreover, Thailand never completely withdrew its troops from the vicinity of Preah Vihear. This persistent military presence ensured that tensions between Bangkok and Phnom Penh continued to simmer for many years, only awaiting a spark to reignite. That spark finally came when Cambodia decided to submit an application to UNESCO, proposing that Preah Vihear be added to the World Heritage List. However, because this area remained disputed between the two nations, UNESCO required Thailand's consent. Cambodia subsequently informed its neighbor, and Bangkok offered its support. On July 6, 2008, Preah Vihear Temple was officially recognized as a World Heritage Site. A grand celebration attended by over 8,000 people was held to mark this event. However, on the opposite side of the border, UNESCO's decision led to internal divisions within Thailand. An organization named the People's Alliance for Democracy, PAD, criticized the government for supporting Cambodia's UNESCO application. They argued that supporting Cambodia's UNESCO application amounted to a direct contradiction of Thailand's territorial claims. At the same time, they accused Thailand's then Prime Minister, Samak Sundaravej, of bypassing parliament and colluding with Phnom Penh in exchange for business contracts. Thailand's Supreme Court also sided with the members of PAD. Protests erupted throughout Bangkok, forcing the Thai government to respond. Under immense pressure, they were compelled to deploy additional troops to the border region, fortify positions, and establish numerous guard posts along the Dângrêk Mountains. Cambodia reacted similarly, strengthening its defensive forces and raising national flags along the border to assert sovereignty. Just 1 week after UNESCO's decision, the first confrontation between the two armies took place. The incident began when 3 Thai farmers were arrested as they attempted to cross into Cambodian territory near the Preah Vihear Temple. Around the same time, approximately 40 Thai soldiers crossed the border and occupied positions within the grounds of a nearby pagoda. Authorities in Bangkok stated that the incident resulted from a misunderstanding. According to their account, Thai troops were merely attempting to recover the 3 detained citizens when they encountered Cambodian soldiers. Fortunately, no gunfire was exchanged at that time. Although the incident might have ended there, both nations continued to send additional troops to the border area. Cambodian authorities claimed that Thailand initiated hostilities by repeatedly increasing their military presence. Tensions continued escalating, eventually prompting intervention by the United Nations, though without any significant improvement. Following unsuccessful negotiations, Bangkok accused Cambodia of seeking to violate its territory. Thailand's foreign ministry spokesperson at the time, Tharit Charongvat, publicly stated that Cambodia's objective was not merely Preah Vihear, but the entire shared border area between the two countries. Phnom Penh denied these allegations, asserting that the heightened tensions were solely Thailand's doing. After mutual accusations, gunfire finally erupted on October 15, 2008. Clashes broke out when a group of Thai soldiers moved into the disputed area near Preah Vihear and were confronted by Cambodian forces. The fighting left 3 soldiers wounded, 2 Thai and 1 Cambodian. In the weeks that followed, tensions remained high as both sides rapidly dug trenches, intensified patrols, and established makeshift camps along the border. By late 2008, the Thai military estimated that Cambodia had deployed approximately 3,000 troops around the disputed region. By the spring of 2009, another conflict erupted, this time on a far larger scale. Both sides repeatedly fired artillery shells and grenades at each other, resulting in 3 fatalities. Several shells struck the ancient temple itself, causing damage to walls that had stood for centuries. UNESCO issued a statement urging both sides to exercise restraint and protect the ancient monument from further damage. Nevertheless, at the end of 2011, the conflict erupted again with increased intensity. This time, the catalyst was the Thai army's decision to deploy heavy equipment to construct a road leading directly to the temple. Cambodia immediately objected, demanding Thailand halt this unauthorized action. Phnom Penh subsequently released a video showing Thai tanks positioned behind construction crews, their guns pointed directly at the temple. Cambodia asserted that this action violated international conventions on protecting cultural heritage during wartime. Defense ministers from both sides spoke by phone in an attempt to de-escalate tensions, but neither side backed down, and once again, gunfire erupted. Around 300 Thai troops attacked Cambodian forces stationed near Preah Vihear. In retaliation, Cambodian troops opened fire on a nearby Thai military outpost. Fighting continued for 3 days, causing minor damage to the temple. The Cambodian government reported that 4 soldiers and 1 policeman had lost their lives. 13,000 Cambodians were temporarily displaced, and 6 homes were destroyed. On the other side of the front line, a village suffered severe damage due to artillery bombardments by Cambodian forces. At least 4 Thais, including civilians, were killed, and thousands of families were forced to evacuate. By this point, the conflict had spiraled out of control, prompting urgent calls from the international community for an immediate ceasefire. The United Nations expressed deep concern about the risk of the conflict spreading and destabilizing the entire Southeast Asian region. Against this backdrop, Cambodia returned to the legal path that had proven successful in 1962. By late 2012, Phnom Penh submitted a request to the International Court of Justice, ICJ, seeking clarification of its previous ruling on the Preah Vihear Temple. Cambodia argued that the original decision only recognized their sovereignty over the temple itself, but did not specify the territorial scope of the surrounding area, allowing Thailand to exploit this legal loophole to maintain a military presence nearby. Thailand promptly opposed this action, accusing Cambodia of attempting to encroach upon Thai territory. Bangkok insisted that the land surrounding the temple had always belonged to Thailand. Finally, on November 11, 2013, the ICJ delivered its ruling, clarifying that the 4.6 square kilometer area surrounding the Preah Vihear Temple belonged to Cambodia and ordered Thailand to withdraw all its forces. Cambodian officials welcomed the decision as fair and acceptable, while Thai Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra also expressed satisfaction, suggesting the judgment was partly beneficial to Thailand. The reason for her stance was that the court proposed both nations jointly manage the Preah Vihear Temple and adjacent areas with UNESCO's support. It seemed for a moment that national animosity might fade into history, yet tensions reignited once again in 2025. On May 28, 2025, Cambodia's Ministry of Defense confirmed that one of its soldiers had been killed in a 10-minute firefight with Thai forces in the disputed border region between the two nations. Later, Major General Winthai Suvari, spokesperson for the Thai Army, stated that Thai soldiers were attempting to withdraw from a position in the disputed area when they came under fire. According to Winthai Suvari, both sides declared they would close their borders and deploy additional troops to hotspots along the frontier. In fact, the commander of the Royal Thai Air Force announced readiness to deploy fighter jets within 5 minutes should any military confrontation erupt along the border. In response, Cambodia's Senate President Hun declared that Khmer armed forces possessed weapons capable of reaching Bangkok. The question remains, when and how will these disputes over the Preah Vihear Temple finally be resolved? The answer is far from simple, as neither Thailand nor Cambodia has yet agreed upon a mutually acceptable solution. Phnom Penh seeks international community support, confident that international law will side with them. Senate President Hun emphasized Cambodia's readiness to normalize relations with Thailand through peaceful measures within the framework of international law. Meanwhile, Bangkok favors bilateral negotiations, utilizing the existing mechanisms of the Thailand-Cambodia Joint Border Commission, GBC. International observers suggest that any genuine prospects for definitively resolving the dispute depend on three crucial factors. First, both sides need political stability and a willingness to accept difficult decisions, even if these temporarily harm their national pride. Second, the International Court of Justice must continue its role as an arbitrator, issuing more detailed rulings on the precise boundary lines to eliminate the existing ambiguity. Finally, international organizations must play a more active role, not merely as mediators, but also by supporting joint economic development along the border to transform economic cooperation into a driver for sustained peace. In this context, the role of ASEAN is particularly critical. ASEAN must make clear to both Cambodia and Thailand that confrontation offers nothing but losses. Conversely, choosing cooperation promises substantial mutual benefits. Clearly, the endpoint of this historical dispute between Thailand and Cambodia remains an open question, reflecting the complexity of Southeast Asian geopolitics. The International Court of Justice has already ruled twice. China has offered mediation. Yet all these efforts appear to be nothing more than knocking at a firmly locked door. Thailand refuses to recognize the ICJ's jurisdiction over the surrounding areas, while Cambodia is reluctant to engage in bilateral talks from a position of perceived weakness. And so, international organizations can only watch artillery shells flying across satellite screens. In ancient times, people built temples to honor the gods. Today, the temple has become a front line. Amid the echoes of artillery and political rhetoric, Preah Vihear stands silent, no longer the abode of deities, but a sacrifice to human ambition. When the guns finally fall silent, and the smoke of gunpowder still clings to moss-covered stones, one realizes Preah Vihear is still there. The 1,000-year-old temple, its stone pathways still leading toward the heavens, the carved deities silently observing this world. but perhaps the gods no longer speak. Long ago, people painstakingly built this temple to worship Shiva, the god of destruction and rebirth. But if Shiva could witness today's events, what would he think? A temple wall shattered by artillery, a statue's nose chipped by shrapnel, a child lying in a refugee tent, clutching textbooks stained with the smoke of conflict. If sacredness embodies peace, then today's violence is a desecration of all that is holy. No one wants to be hailed a hero on the very land where their ancestors lie buried in silence. No Cambodian mother wants her son sacrificed for a piece of rock, even one called a World Heritage Site. No Thai farmer wants their fields turned into artillery ranges. They need sleep uninterrupted by explosions, meals enjoyed without wondering if their village will still be standing tomorrow. Today's world speaks endlessly about peace. UNESCO, the ICJ, and ASEAN all talk about preserving humanity's cultural heritage together. But how can heritage be preserved if each monument becomes a marker of sovereignty? How can preservation succeed when ancient stones are used to stake claims of ownership? When every historical artifact is measured to determine dominance? Preah Vihear might become the jewel of Southeast Asia, or perhaps the final drop in the overflowing cup of nationalist pride. And instead of prayers whispered inside its halls, we may count bodies in the courtyard. Nobody knows what will become of this temple tomorrow. Nobody knows when the bombs and bullets will stop. Yet one thing is certain. Ancient people did not build temples to fight over, nor did they build them to trade lives for stones. They built temples to make offerings, to seek blessings and to bridge the heavens with the earth. If today we use this sacred place to unleash anger, oppress others, and fire upon one another, then it is not the gods who are enraged. It is we who betray the temple's very reason for existing. Although the path toward reconciliation remains long and fraught with challenges, hope endures among those who cherish peace. That one day Preah Vihear will truly become a bridge uniting nations, rather than a battleground dividing them. Whether leaders choose reconciliation over hatred or war over peace remains to be seen. Only time holds the answer. Remember, the ancients built temples to honor, not to bury hatred. Thank you for joining us until the end. May you always find peace and clarity amidst conflicting narratives. We'll see you again, as truth and history continue to speak.